Hello, everyone. Welcome into a full edition of Ville on the Ville. I want to welcome everybody who maybe is tuning in for the first time to one of these. And I want to give a shout out to a lot of guys on social media who have really given me some support and said, hey, give Troy a follow. He's doing some good stuff. And just to give you an idea of why I'm doing this, for those of you new to it, I've sent out a lot of quick takes, but I'm also doing these longer videos, which can get a little too long at times, and I fully admit to that. I'm going to try and keep this at about 15 minutes or so at the most, because I think anything more than that, at least right now, it's a little too much. But my goal in game is to develop this into something unique and special, and I'm on that path right now, and I did receive some good news not that long ago that it might be developing into something a little greater here over the coming months. But until we get to that point, I want to continue to do it here on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Ville on the Ville, and online as well with Twitter. And again, I want to welcome all the new followers and also give a shout out to those guys who've shown support, including Joe Kelly, that boy's good on Twitter, Mark Ennis, Mark Blankenbaker. Really great to get that support and get some feedback and saying, hey, you enjoy it. And hopefully I'll continue to put out some at least stuff that people enjoy seeing. But want to talk about the Cardinals. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this. And the first thing is the baseball team. They are really starting to look much better in terms of playing consistently, putting up some runs, producing hits. That had kind of been their struggle for a while. And it's kind of neat to see this team right as they get into the spotlight, when most of the, I guess, more casual fans start to pay close attention. Once basketball's wrapped up, once the spring game's over with, everybody starts looking at the baseball team when maybe beforehand they weren't. And they're starting to really kind of hit some stride here. Now it's only a 5-game winning streak that they're in right now, but they beat a good team on the road at Virginia Tech. Anytime you can sweep a road series in conference in the ACC, that's good. And then you get the rivalry win over a good Kentucky team, and you're starting to see guys starting to produce. Like in my quick take the other day, I talked about Snyder starting to get those hits, and that's what Dan McDonald wanted to see out of him. And it's really neat to see the way they're starting to produce. And I think they're really coming together at a perfect time. Earlier in the year, for those who haven't followed the team that closely, you look at their record in conference, they were just 1-4 in their first 5 ACC series. But they were very close. In fact, just a few innings from inverting that and being 4-1. They got an opening series win in conference against North Carolina. Then they went to Wake Forest. I believe that was the second series. And in the very first game of that series on a Friday night, went into the 9th inning tied at 1, had the bases loaded with 1 out and hit into a double play. Very next inning, walk-off homer for Wake Forest. They would then win Game 2, but then lose Game 3. So again, a 9th inning loss swings that series. That was a tough loss for them. Then they went to Florida State, lost the first game, but then had the second game in hand leading in the 9th inning, gave up a 2-run homer as a walk-off loss. They won Game 3. So again, that game was pivotal. Then at home against North Carolina State, and perhaps the most heartbreaking loss because it was at home. They had won the game on Friday night, had seemingly command of the series, had a lead going into the 9th inning, and not only did you have your ace closer on the mound who had given up that walk-off homer to Florida State, but you had that lead 6-5. You felt really good. You're going to get the series by locking it up in the 9th inning. And it wasn't really that there were bad pitches. North Carolina State, the first 2 batters in that 9th inning, swinging bunts to reach base, the second of which may be a decision that was bad in the field when they could have gotten an out at second, decided to go to first, didn't get it, so then you got a man on first and second with no outs. But really, it's always frustrating when it just seems like luck gets the other team across home plate, and that's what happened in that 9th inning with literally swinging bunts, dribble out into the infield for infield hits. They get 2 men on. They go on to score 4 runs in the inning, win the game, and then they won on Sunday to take the series. So that's the kind of thing that Louisville baseball faced for much of that first half of the conference slate in ACC play. So they were just 1-4, but then they started this second 5-game series, group of series by getting that sweep at Virginia Tech. Then they got the win over Kentucky. They had last week. They started this 5-game winning streak by beating Northern Kentucky. So now they host Virginia. This weekend, a good team, but again, this is a team you'd think the way Louisville's now playing, they should be able to take care of business. If they can get at least 2 and get another series under their belt, they're back to within 1 series of 500 in conference and really feeling good. And as I noted in a quick take, if you want to see this baseball team at home in conference, this weekend is your last chance before mid-May when they host Notre Dame to finish the conference state and the regular season, because they have a non-conference series next week against Indiana State at Jim Patterson. So they only have 3 more home series, but only 2 of those are an ACC play. But again, if you want to see them at all, you still have a few opportunities. But if you want to see an ACC series, if you don't get out there this weekend, it's going to be almost a month before you see them again, because they're on the road at Boston College and at Pittsburgh in between there. But over the next couple weeks, the schedule goes Virginia this weekend. Friday, 6 o'clock is the first pitch. Then they have a game against Western Kentucky, a little regional rivalry game in the Patterson Stadium in a midweek game next week. And then they hit the road for a while. They go to Boston College, I believe, then to Vanderbilt, then to Pittsburgh. So they're kind of out of town during that Derby swing, which I think is typical during the Derby time of year, just because it's just no way you can get games in at Patterson when the Derby's going on. So they're hitting stride. It's good to see that. So hopefully they can keep it going, looking much better now. And they never really were in bad shape, because like I said, they were so close. In a few of those series they lost, it was a 9th inning loss that really swung the series. So they were very close against good competition. That's where you look at the schedule. You understand North Carolina was a ranked team. They got a win against them, a series win. Clemson, North Carolina State, Florida State on the road. Good teams. The schedule, while not easy, considerably less challenging when you're talking about Virginia Tech, Virginia, Boston College, Pittsburgh. So this is where they could really get that record back on the side of good in conference. Now, obviously, their overall record is still very good against a good schedule. So I don't think now quite sweating it as we were just a little over a week ago before this 5-game winning streak. They were only 20-11, needed some good wins. Now they're getting them. So I think they're much better just a week later, in much better position for that postseason spot, in good shape now. So hopefully they can just keep it going. But it's good to see the baseball team really hitting stride when that attention and spotlight turns to them. And Dan McDonald just always seems to be able to dial his team in at the right time. And I think his mindset of, you can't let the game beat you up, because that's the way baseball is. You'll go through a stretch where you just seem to have the short end of everything, and you start to doubt yourself, your confidence wanes, and that's when you start to struggle. You've got to stay steady and stay with it and believe in the process that you're going to get over the hump. And I think you're seeing them do that now. And I think that schedule helps, albeit a little bit as well, but it's good to see that. The next thing I want to go to is Donovan Mitchell. I put a quick take out last week that I think a lot of people saw and enjoyed, comparing Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons. My overall point was both of these guys are very good. Both of these guys are doing things we haven't seen rookies do in quite some time, and ultimately my point was they both deserve Rookie of the Year. Now I think voting is done now, so these playoff performances by Mitchell probably not going to help him any, but hopefully people already understood the talent he possessed and the way he played compared to Ben Simmons. I think everybody wants to compare the two, and you really can't do that because of how different their games are and the way they impact games. Simmons, with the fact he plays point guard, his height, obviously he's going to get more assists and more rebounds. Donovan Mitchell, going to get more points, going to get more shots because he's the scorer. His team relies on him to get buckets when they need him, and he showed that last night. Some people complain, well, at times he takes too many shots to get those points, but that's his role. I mean, you saw Michael Jordan at times do that. Sometimes he took a lot more shots than you might think he needs, but then you see him hit shots at critical junctures in pivotal points in games that win them games, like they did on the road at Oklahoma City, a very good OKC team that looked almost unbeatable in Game 1 when Paul George went absolutely nuts. Really, as a team, they shot the ball lights out, so you wondered if Utah was going to be up against it, but then to come back with that foot injury, Donovan Mitchell not 100%, still playing very well. These two guys, really, Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell being the two guys, I still believe they both deserve Rookie of the Year, and hopefully, I know a lot of times people think, that's kind of kissing your sister. That's, just kind of giving in to the easy way out. But they both deserve it. I mean, you're talking about Ben Simmons, more triple-doubles, I think, than any player in a rookie season since, I believe, Oscar Robertson. Donovan Mitchell doing things you haven't seen in a long time. He just broke, as a rookie guard, the most points since Michael Jordan in his first 2 playoff games. That's great things. First rookie to lead his team, a playoff team in scoring, I believe. So both of these guys are doing things you haven't seen in quite some time as a rookie, and therefore I think it's both. I don't think it's an easy way out to give them co-Rookie of the Year. But something else I thought was really neat, going through Twitter, it was David Griffin tweeted out, here it is right here, Donovan Mitchell, 21 years old, Star on the floor, but his post-game walk-off interview is first-team All-NBA on its own. He's so polished. And really, for those of us around here, and that's what the banner at the bottom of the screen was just a second ago, said something we already knew. That Donovan Mitchell, he's displayed this from day one, and he's left the same impression on just about every place he's been from the time before he was even at the University of Louisville. I had an opportunity at the place where I work to be involved with him getting interviewed when he was in for the Derby Classic All-Star game, and that was the same Donovan Mitchell there pre-college that you still see in the NBA. Incredibly level-headed, mature beyond his years, just an amazing presence, and obviously his parents did a heck of a job. Now, I'm not going to say Donovan Mitchell is not a contributor to that. He's a great young man, polite, says the right things, and you get the sense that this isn't because he's doing it because he thinks he needs to do it. That's the kind of person he is. And when you see somebody do this consistently, again, for this many years, from high school now to the NBA, this kid, he gets it. Not only is he a great player, but a great person, and everybody along the way, whether it's a coach, a teammate, somebody doing an interview, you see that consistent response. And Donovan Mitchell has just been fantastic. And something else I wanted to share. I've tweeted this out several times, so you maybe have already seen it. Some graphics I made. This was inspired by an image from the dunk contest when he won that. One of his dunks, it almost is that, that Jumpman image in a different layout, of course. Donnie Utah, I think, is a popular nickname a lot of people have given him, and then, of course, Spida is the one he's given himself. So a couple images I whipped up that I actually made a T-shirt out of one of these, and it looked really good. So who knows? Maybe that'll catch on, and they'll maybe do something with that. But who knows? You can always dream, right? But Donovan Mitchell, everything he gets, he deserves, and it's fantastic to see him not only, they say the old adage, good guys finish last. This obviously proves that wrong. Great kid, great person, and doing great things in the NBA. So it's good to see Donovan Mitchell. So we'll see now, can they keep that home court advantage and win this first-round series? Amazing. Me and a coworker were talking about the Las Vegas projection for Utah preseason. Well, there's, I think, 40 wins, which that kind of surprises me. I thought it might be less than that. But then when you really think about it, that would mean sub 500 overall. And they ended up finishing, I think, 15 games over 500. So that's quite a swing. And Donovan Mitchell, a big reason for that. Next up, spring game. The takeaways from this, I think the main one for me was I saw enough from Puma Pass to feel comfortable. I said, clever play on words there. He passes the test. I feel like he's going to be a guy that can run the offense. And the thing for me that you never want to say goodbye to a Lamar Jackson because he's so dynamic, he's so good. But the one thing I was looking forward to with Puma Pass coming in was more of that Bobby Petrino 1.0 offense that you saw more of when he was here before. More of a, I want to say a pass-oriented game, but a pro-style offense where the quarterback passes the ball and the running backs run the ball. More of that, direct handoff stuff that you saw less and less of. The past 2 seasons, Bobby Petrino seemed to promise that traditional handoff to the running back, but you didn't ever really get around to that. So that's the thing I was really looking forward to. Now, I know Malik Cunningham showed some of that flashes of Lamar Jackson when he was in the spring game, but I still think it's going to be Jawon Pass, and they're going to have more of that traditional Bobby Petrino offense. Now, maybe there's that package where Malik Cunningham comes in and they run a little bit of that read option stuff, but I think overall the offense is going to have more of that look back when you saw Brian Braum running it. And I know Stephon LaForce was able to run some of that read stuff as well, but he still, I think, ran more of the pass stuff as well, the handoffs from under center that you didn't see much of the past couple seasons with Lamar Jackson at the helm, and that was understandable, obviously, when you had that talent under center that Jackson possessed. So I think moving forward, I don't want to touch a lot on the spring game because there's so much time between now and the fall, and as my project here develops, football is going to be the one thing we lean on once baseball's over, so there's going to be plenty of time to talk about it. But the main thing I took away was that I saw that Jawon Pass looks like he's definitely going to be the starter, but it's good to see Cunningham and what he can do, that if you get in a bind or you get a game where Pass has to leave, unfortunately, due to injury, that there's a guy behind him that can come in and maybe at least lead the offense, be competent, throw in a wrinkle here and there, that the depth at quarterback might be there with what Cunningham brought to the fold there in the spring game. Next up, the big topic the last couple days, Courtney Ramey, I did it my quick take yesterday. I predicted that you'd probably hear something very soon after he met with Louisville. Of course, you heard something even sooner than that the visit was canceled, and that had to do with the fact that there was a scheduling error with this All-Star game that he was going to. I don't know what the basis for that error was. Kind of seemed weird that he would go in, set up this meeting with Louisville. You're playing in that All-Star game, so why exactly did that error even occur? But since that time on social media, everybody says, look, it was a justifiable, it was a legitimate error. It was an honest mistake. They're going to set up another visit with the University of Louisville. So I'll just let that go for now, and we'll see where Louisville stands. I assume they're still in the running. But at some point, Chris Mack, they have spots they need to fill, and they have priorities, and they have things they want to get taken care of, most notably probably in that backcourt right now. And Courtney Ramey would fill that spot, so they can't spin their wheels too long, because if you don't get him and you wait too long, you may miss an opportunity with some of these grad transfers that are trying to find a spot. So you can't drag your feet too long and wait on a guy who ultimately is not going to commit to you. But hopefully they understand better than any of us what that vibe is, and hopefully they'll make the right decision based on that vibe. And if they feel like they should still stick with Courtney Ramey and visiting, that they will do that. And ultimately, I think you got to trust that this new staff, they obviously have said all the right things. They appear to be a very good staff on the recruiting trail, and we're going to actually really find that out quickly as they fill these spots that Louisville has available, in particular with Ray Spalding and Ding Adele moving on, opening up even more spots. But they've been, they emphasize the fact that we're just not going to fill a spot because it's there, because if you, especially with a freshman, you don't want to fill a spot that you're going to fill for 2, 3, 4 years, when next year you might be able to get a guy that can give you a lot more than somebody else. So you just don't want to take one and fill a scholarship just to fill it. That's going to wrap it up for today. I think I stuck to that time limit that I was hoping to stick to of 15 to 20 minutes. But again, Ville on the Ville is something that started to get developed last fall, has continued to get developed. I can't really go into where and why, but it is developing. And I appreciate everybody who has given me feedback, mainly on Twitter. I like doing those quick takes because they're quicker, they're easier. I can get them done fairly quickly and get it out there. And I don't think people like to sit around and spend a lot of time sitting and listening to something like this when it's just me. Down the road, my vision, as I've said before, if you've seen these, is to have an interactive setup here. So it's not just me talking, it's people interacting via Twitter or maybe Facebook. Some way I might be able to set that up. But the path is set up. It's moving in a certain direction that is very positive right now. And I want to thank everybody who is making that possible by contributing with some feedback on Twitter or just simply watching the videos, giving it a like, giving it a retweet, because that's ultimately going to help me develop this even more and hopefully provide something. My vision long-term is something very unique, because my goal isn't to do something that's already being done. It's to do something different. And my vision is indeed something different. So this has been Ville on the Ville. I want to thank everybody for watching. And as always, go Cards.